Hi everybody and welcome to today's Art of Procurement podcast. I'm Philip Eidson, the founder and managing director of Art of Procurement. And as we all know, it's a really exciting time to be in procurement, especially with the pace of technological change. And so today's podcast is part of a special sponsored series that's taking part over the last 2 weeks of January 2020, where we aim to shine a light on the emerging and growth companies who are changing the way that leading procurement teams are driving outcomes that truly align with corporate objectives. And so we're going to ask an entrepreneur from 8 different companies questions about what gap in the market their solution addresses, how they differentiate their technology, and what the tools look like in action. It's a great way for you to get to know those who are truly leading the way when it comes to the digitization of procurement. And so in today's podcast, I talked to Rowena Ludwig of TraDove. And I first asked Rowena if she could share a little bit about what TraDove does.
TradeOff allows business buyers and sellers worldwide find one another, connect, and trade. TradeOff offers 2 products. The first product is TradeOff.com. It's a social network platform very similar to LinkedIn where business buyers and sellers can join for free. Our platform matches the best suited buyers and sellers worldwide based on their interests and what they sell. And we also offer TradeOffPay, which is a blockchain payment solution allowing buyers and sellers make international payment transactions.
So I want to ask you about TradeOffPay and the blockchain payment solution that you have. How is that differentiated by what else might be out there in the market?
Well, it's easy to use and convenient. As you know, working with banks to send payment transaction requires a lot of paperwork and very time consuming, especially when a letter of credit is required. With TradeOffPay, once you're an approved user or a member, you can easily send your payments through our app via mobile or desktop. And our blockchain technology uses smart contract, which eliminates the hassle of heavy paperwork required by banks, especially when doing international transactions.
So I want to understand and talk a little bit about how it actually works, and you can let me know if I'm kind of on the right track. But essentially, when you are looking to make a transaction, you're trying to buy something from somebody, you've downloaded the app, and the seller also has downloaded the app. So you both have the app on both sides of the transaction. You as the buyer buy a token, which is of a certain value, a certain monetary value, and that actual token can gather interest over time, while you're not using it. But you have this token. Once you have bought the token, you can then enter into a smart contract with the seller. And the smart contract, really, to me, the way I think of it is it's like a statement of work and a receipt and a letter of credit all rolled into the same thing. So you're basically saying, this is what I want to buy. And you are agreeing that with the seller. And then once you actually buy and sell that product or that service, you can say you've sent it or you've provided it as the seller. And as the buyer, you can receive it to say, yeah, I got it. Everything is good. When that happens, the seller can then basically redeem what you have invested in the token. It's really just cash back into their bank account. And that process, it's not like it's taking out the banking system, but it's actually just reducing the need to go through the cumbersome process of having letters of credit and all the expenses of having, where the banks are basically taking percentages off the top in terms of fees. Is that kind of a good understanding? I'd love to know your perspective, because what I'm trying to do is picture how that transaction flows.
It sounds perfect. You're on point. You got it right. So overall, we're pretty much replacing the letter of credit via smart contract through blockchain. Okay. So, and I could go deeper or not about how the technology works, but that's in a nutshell. We are replacing the letter of credit with smart contract through blockchain.
Yeah, no, it's been helpful to understand that a little bit more as well, because when you are not necessarily in and around blockchain technology every day, it's somewhat difficult to visualize how it works. So that's it makes it a lot easier for me. Thinking about it more as a Venmo or a PayPal, but with the benefit of the smart contract built into it, essentially for B2B transactions.
It's basically it'll save users time, energy. It's easy to use because everything is through the app. we authenticate all users. That's
right.
another thing that I wanted to share, because we embrace security and privacy. So I just wanted to kind of give you a little bit of information on how our blockchain technology is different from a traditional blockchain.
Yeah. So how is your blockchain technology different from more traditional blockchain technology?
Well, TradeOffPay is different from any traditional blockchain technology because the business transactions are only recorded on the involved parties' devices. With other traditional blockchain technology, the transaction data is stored on and visible to all devices in the blockchain network servers, possibly even those of business competitors.
So a traditional blockchain transaction, there's not necessarily a limit on who can view that transaction that took place. So that's what you're doing, is you're protecting that information. So it's not essentially on the public blockchain.
That's correct. So with ours, no one could view the recorded transaction. The only people who could view the recorded transactions are the buyers and the sellers. Yeah. Pretty much people who are involved.
Yeah, the parties.
With the traditional blockchain, the traditional blockchain technology, the blocks itself, which is pretty much the recorded transaction, sits on within the blockchain network servers, right? Yeah. So whoever is involved. And let's say that you want to participate as a regular consumer, you could actually go to certain sites where you could view who's done what transaction. With TradeOffPay, we authenticate all users, and the transactions are private.
And so my final question kind of on how the process works and the user experience is from a commercial perspective. You know, when you're looking at making a transaction, typically you go through the banking system, and there's obviously banking fees that you pay, especially for international transactions. How does that work for payments through TradeOffPay? Is there still a transaction fee associated with putting a transaction through the blockchain?
Well, there is no cost to users. We make our money through float. Okay. We work with banking partners worldwide. So the best answer to that is there is no cost to users. So it's free, and that's a great thing.
Awesome. Well, in terms of where to start, if anybody is listening to today, they're either intrigued in the opportunity that transacting through the blockchain offers, or perhaps they've already looked at doing so and maybe not had or found a good way of doing it. What would be the best place to learn a little bit more and to reach out and connect with you?
Sure. So they could reach out to me via email or LinkedIn, Rowena Bonnet on LinkedIn, and also, or they could give me a call at 650-678-2708.
Okay, perfect. Well, what I'll do, Rowena, is I'll include the links of how they can reach out to you. I'll put your LinkedIn profile on there as well in our show notes for today's episode. Those are going to be at artofprocurement.com/startup series. We're going to have the show notes from all the episodes in this series are going to be at that link. And just look for TradeOff and you will find the show notes with Rowena's contact details. So, Rowena, I want to just thank you so much for joining me today. Thanks for tuning in to this special startup series on the Art of Procurement. To listen to the entire series and for the show notes pages that accompany each episode, please go to artofprocurement.com/startup series.